Hi everyone and happy Thursday. It's another Instagram Live Thursday. Today we have Sonia Lakhany on. I'm super excited. She is one of the most influential people on trademarks right now. So let's just give it a couple minutes to get some people in here and have Sonia join. I'm gonna ping her. Hope you guys are doing well today. It's a crazy day, of course. I just made a post on LinkedIn how it's been a little bit wild here. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a second. But everything is good, you know, like June marks the halfway point of the year, so I'm sure a lot of you are either feeling tired or ready for a recharge, which is what summer is supposed to be for. So hopefully everyone has taken that time to relax. Okay, I'm gonna tell her, join me on my story, and then we'll get Sonia on here. Hey guys, feel free to introduce yourselves. We'll take questions. A lot of this is like, we can spotlight Sonia and talk about her business and her background, but of course we're going to leave room for questions. So a lot of you are attorneys. Comment, say who you are, where you come from, where you live, and what kind of practice you have, and like use this as networking. This is the new way we network. Yay, and there she is. Hi. Hey, Sonia. Okay. Oh. From Wavemakers. Hi. Hey, girl.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
like,
good.
good morning, but like, it's only good morning for people here on the Pacific Coast. So.
Where are you based?
California.
Which part?
Huntington Beach, Orange County.
Okay. Yeah, I'm East Coast. I want to say I don't know why, but then summer rolls around and I'm like, oh, this is why. Like, it's beautiful on the beach in the city. But then winter comes. I'm like, why?
I spent some time in New York and it was like closed chapter. I was like, I'm not built for this. Like, I did it. I was like, I'm not built for this. I'm coming back.
Yeah. Did you grow up out there?
I grew up in Orange County. Yeah, New York was like a fun little chapter. I also went to law school in Atlanta, so I've like lived up and down the East Coast like for years, off and on. But pandemic, I was like, I want to be on the beach where it's beautiful and sunny and happy. Hey, lots of familiar faces. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, this is great. I
Yeah.
know I said, like, feel free to introduce yourselves, guys, because it's networking. This is how we network now.
It is. I love it. I love it.
Okay, so I will get started, Sonia. This is Legal Limelight, where we spotlight key legal industry experts. Sonia Lakhany is our guest today. Sonia is the founder of Lakhany Law PC, an award-winning trademark law firm. She's also like the premier person when it comes to trademarks, and she has all of these incredible services. She has a Facebook group. She's just the best. I'm super excited to have you. Okay, now I'm going to finish reading your bio.
Thank you.
So her practice is focused on counseling business owners on how to use trademark registrations to protect their catchy business names, logos, slogans, and taglines. In addition to managing her firm, she also teaches people. She's the founder of 2 Weeks to Trademarks. This is what, you know, how I recognize you. A lot of the people in here right now I see have taken your course. It's 2 Weeks to Trademarks. It's the first and only online course that not only teaches how to practice trademarks, but how to market and gets clients as well, which is critical. She's considered a national expert in the field, and she's also, her work has been recognized, and she's been featured in Forbes and numerous media outlets. Oh, I'm sorry, Glamour, Entrepreneur, Bloomberg, Business News, and CBS. I don't see Forbes listed here, but I think I just manifested that for it to happen. It will.
We'll see it soon. I'm not above it. We'll see it soon.
And Sonia can be reached via her website, lakhanylaw.com, and on Instagram, the Trademark Lawyer Lady. And I love that Instagram has this feature where if you hit the arrow at the top, guys, for my followers, you can tap that and click Trademark Lawyer Lady and follow Sonia if you're not already doing it. Sonia, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. So much like so many of us, Francesca and I are online friends. Like we've never met in person, but it feels like we know each other because I'm like, oh, I see you, girl. Oh, your kids are cute. Oh, Merry Christmas. It's like, it's just a thing that you feel like we all know each other. And I love this about how expansive the community has become. And we don't even ever have had to like meet in person. It's so awesome.
Yeah. And like, I think that's something that's why you do video, right? Because you get to know someone's personality and see what they're like rather than just a picture. Or even, I mean, for traditional lawyers that don't use social media yet, they rely on their firm website picture, and it's just not the way to do it anymore.
Nope. And it's hard. I get it. People don't realize this, but like fun fact, I'm actually an introvert by nature. So yeah, like I don't have a problem like chit chatting and stuff, but like that's not where I draw my energy from. I actually get very depleted from putting myself out there, from videos, from talking. And so like I'm very structured about like days I'm on versus days I'm not. But like for all my introverts out there, shy people, like you guys, like you have to put yourself out there. It's so hard, and but it's necessary in this world we live in. You have to.
And when I was at Denton's for a 3 years. And then when COVID hit, I left and I joined Loza and Loza. I think you know Tina Loza. But I was able to I basically needed to build a book of business. So the first thing I did was get on Instagram. And I was shocked to see how many, and pleasantly surprised to see how many trademark attorneys there were. But so you were absolutely there. You've built your business. I joined in I would think 2020 was when I started my Instagram account. So can you tell us a little bit about when you started and what made you just get online and use the internet to build your business?
Yeah, so I had my own Instagram for this. I've had this account since early 2015. That was around the time frame that I started my own practice, also resigned from the firm I was at. And it was, like you said, it was just a necessary component. And there was not even a question in my mind that I had to do it. But that being said, how I've gone about it and what I've done with it has definitely changed over the years. So in the beginning, the early days, if anyone has too much time on their hands, like tonight or tomorrow, you can't go to sleep, go all the way back. The earliest days are just graphics, like my picture and a thing, my picture and a thing. It's just a tip. It's just whatever. Like I never wanted to be, actually real time, come on, make videos, make content, because I was, because of that whole like, oh, I don't know, what are people going to say? What if I get a mean comment?
It's not professional or
just like what somebody would say, and eventually I don't remember how it happened, but like I made one and then another one happened, and I just started, and I noticed how much of the engagement went up when I would. And so obviously, there's a famous saying that like people say they wait for the motivation to do something, but it actually comes later because you see the momentum. So you just have to kind of close your eyes and like hold your nose and jump. And then when you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then you get motivated to do another one and another one and so on. So that's really what created all this momentum. And now I have a blast with it. Like now I just love it. I have such a great time with it.
You're like the person. And it's funny, like joke that like, oh, you're famous, but really like there's this new wave of legal influencers, and not influencers in the sense where like you're getting paid to do advertisements, like maybe some people are, but it's influencers in like a very traditional sense. You are a thought leader and you're a leader in the industry, and you have influenced people. So I love seeing what you're doing, but also can we talk a little bit about the program, because I think that's really what you're well known for, and you've built this amazing community, which is collaborative. And I think someone commented how like they like to see us collaborating because like we're both trademark attorneys, right? People may think, well, why are you having another trademark attorney on? It's because like that's not the way the world works. I actually have a lot of trademark attorneys that come on here. Everyone's different. They have their own different style and own service offerings. So tell us about like this incredible program that you do.
I am so blessed. Like it's such a pinch me moment all these years later. I'm like, wow, like look what this turned into. It's so incredible. Like this little webinar I dreamt up 6 years ago, like here we are. So it really, like so many ideas that you hear about in business, was birthed from a need that I had, and I didn't want anyone else to have that problem later on. And so 12 years ago, when I graduated in 2010, worst economy ever, horrible job market. Many people can relate if you're a new grad right now. It's, a terrible time. I wanted to find a trademark job, but I couldn't. And I couldn't even speak intelligently in an interview because I didn't know the vocabulary. I didn't even know like what the screens looked like the process. And so I, did so much of my own research, would file dummy marks to the point before paying just to see how different options looked and how the T system. Oh my God, I put hours and hours and hours of research in, made a bunch of mistakes at all the different jobs I had, got yelled at by partners, all kinds of, yeah, shout out to 2010, man. We've had it rough. I mean, but I also feel for the new wave of attorneys. And, eventually I found my footing, eventually I found my way. And resigning from, a slew of associate positions just because I just wasn't built. I realized I wasn't built to work for someone else. That's really what it was. And so I woke up one day, January 30th, 2015, and just resigned. I had no plan, just literally woke up, put 2 feet on the ground. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I was flying by the seat of my pants, had but it was just me, no partner, no kids. And I say that very famously because the risk is a lot lower, back then. And when you're in those shoes. That being said, you can absolutely do it. I don't want people to think that's like the only way. But after that, I built the practice, just skyrocketed, and I really hit the ground running. I worked myself solid, like just burnt to the ground, and built this thing. I went from six figures to multi-six, eventually hit 7 figures. Thank you. I know.
Let's go.
Oh my God. And I work for it. People are like, oh, must be nice. And I'm like, because
people only see the end. I try to talk about the process sometimes, about like what I'm struggling with in the content, because I know I'm going to get there. I'm totally not there yet, but I have goals. So like, I want to show people like, this is what's going on. It's not easy. I'm hustling till 10, 11 o'clock at night and get to wake up in 2 hours to feed my newborn kid. It's like crazy.
It's a lot. And those first 2 years, what it took, I don't know if I have that in me, y'all, to do that again. Like, thank God it's over, because it's like a newborn. I birthed a whole kid like in these last several years. But at some point along the way, I just started getting messages. I was like a guest panelist at like law school events, and I was like a guest speaker at some people's different a trademark boot camp, and like just random things around town. And I would always get these messages like, I loved your panel, I loved your lecture, like I love the way you chat or the way you speak. If you ever have a class or anything, or like more where that came from, let me know. And I was like, okay. And then it just got to be like, one day, like somebody messages you and it hits you right at the right moment where you're like, okay, why not? And I still remember the day. It was September 2006 or 8th or something, 2017. It was like 2 a.m. I was like drinking a glass of red wine at my dining table. And I was like, you know what? Let me just like scratch together. And that was the first outline of 2 weeks of trademarks. And I was like, I think 2 weeks is sufficient. I think I could do this. And I put it up as like a registration. And like, I was bombarded by people who were like either registered or were like, I can't get this one, but put me on your list for the next one. I was like, a list? I was like, what do you mean? I learned in like literally 3 days what a funnel was, what a landing page was, oh my God, I had no place to collect all these people. And I mean, honestly, the rest is history from 2017 and onward. And that became its own multi-6-figure business. It's on its way, potentially. I think it has the potential to be more, but yeah.
You saying like this is the reality. Like, we are business people. And I think it's very obviously, when you're a business person, you're an entrepreneur, you have to understand your finances. Like, that's the golden rule. Even if your expenses exceed your profits, then you're not running a business. And a lot of lawyers, like, they're not taught this in law school, or they didn't go to business school. We did history and, you know, the arts. So like, I love it when successful attorneys are blunt and are like, this is how much I make, this is what my businesses do, because I think it's important for other people to see that there's different business models out there. You don't have to make millions. You don't have to hit your financial goals and make big money just by grinding it out in big law and selling your soul for a job that you may not want.
Yeah, and that you're not happy in. And I mean, it's such a cliche thing, but life is too short, you know? And one thing that I feel really strongly about is, you know, making it make sense, you know, sense, you know, it's got to make sense if you're going to do something. But I think also there's so much joy, fulfillment in having something else that you do that besides practicing law. And I think that's why I mean, I enjoy the teaching so much. And again, you know, it was hard to put myself out there in the beginning because I was like, I'm certainly not the most experienced attorney out there. I'm not the oldest, you know, I'm not, you know, and I did and do get, there's a small percentage of people who are like, I'm older than you. I've been practicing trademarks for blank amount of years, or I've done blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, I could have taught that. I'm like, well, then you should have, you know?
Yeah.
But for me, you know, so I'm going to sit cross-legged. But for me, the big thing was, it's not just delivering material. It is sharing your story, and it's being ultra transparent about the journey, what you did to build it in an economy and in a market that is completely different than those attorneys grew up in. And to be able to make it now, I'm like, you guys, this is how you use Instagram. This is how you do this. This is how you go back to kind of old-fashioned things, old-fashioned techniques of building referrals and all the little gifting and stuff. Like, that's such a big part of what I teach and what I do, but that's the stuff that works, right? And so I think, you know, being able to couple the substantive aspect of, okay, this is what the USPTO looks like, this is what you do, this is how you answer an office action, blah, 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 versus, okay, also, when your client retains you, send them a handwritten thank you note with the blah, 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 like, you'll have a client for life. You guys, like, it's these little systems and tricks, and that is the duo. So
Have
you
you
can
thought
maybe
about
learn,
that?
yeah, so maybe you can learn the business stuff somewhere, and maybe you can, like, hodgepodge together your own trademark knowledge, but this does not exist, this duality, and that is my superpower, is that duality.
Right now, it sounds like your duality, though, is only in the 2 weeks to trademarks. Have you thought about like offering a separate product just for the marketing?
So it's so funny because just like an hour before we hopped on, someone in my trademark group, which, by the way, if you guys are not members, I'd love to, with permission, would love to invite you guys to join the group.
If you
so
give me the link, I can post it.
Yeah, so it's just, if you search on Facebook, it's trademark attorneys / lawyers. There's also a link in my bio, my Instagram bio, to just like join it. But it's a huge group and we have a lot of fun in there, I'd like to say. So somebody in the group actually mentioned that just an hour ago. They were like, I know trademarks already. Like, can I just, because like week 3, so like the reteach is coming up, starting on Monday, actually. And thank you, Sarah. And so I'm, for the first time in since 2018, I'm actually teaching live again, which never happens because it's such a big undertaking.
Yeah.
Before, you know, it's self-study usually, right? Like the modules are loaded and you can watch, start, stop whenever you want, kind of like Netflix. And so I'm actually doing a live reteach for the next 3 weeks of the class to replace all the modules with the newest content, right? Fresh content. And week 3, so we have weeks 1 and 2, that's the 2 weeks to trademarks, right? That's the substantive area. And then week 3 is like, there's a session on conquering the consultation. There's a session on like pricing strategies and techniques. There's a session on referral building. Like, that's business week, right? And we call it Empire Week because it's boss of a motherfucking empire. Like, that's
I need to take this.
Yeah. And so someone in the group just an hour ago was like, would you ever consider just, and I was like, you know what? I'm not mad at it. If I have enough interest, I'll launch an Empire Pass just for that week. You know, so it's so funny that you mentioned that because it's been asked many times before, but I also believe in kind of like serving the people that your core audience is. And for me, it's kind of near and dear to my heart to like have attorneys that are like 0 to blank years of maybe not practice in general, but their own thing, you know, their own aspect of trademarks and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm not above it, you guys. The wheels are turning, especially since someone just pinged me like this morning about it. So you know me, you tell me something, I'll probably make it happen.
I
So
love
yeah,
that. Well, if you do,
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna sign up for it. And like with my own online, journey, I use Calendly, and I love Calendly because in it I ask a question. I say, where did you come? Like, how did you connect with me? Instagram, TikTok, friends. Like, just tell me how you came in. And then Calendly, at the end of the year, I can literally extract all that info in an Excel. It just does it automatically. So, like, I haven't looked yet, but I'm really excited to see how many of my clients have come from Instagram, come from TikTok, come from Facebook, because, like, if I didn't do this, if I wasn't on Instagram, I would have quit my job at Denton's, just joined a new firm, and would have just sat there waiting for the phone to ring.
Exactly. Yeah. Waiting for and hoping, wishing, and dreaming. And with this way, what I love about online and social is that you can make your own. And I don't like the word luck, but you can make your
Yeah.
own success. Like if you'd wake up one day and you're like, I want a Ferrari by this time next year. Like you could literally chart out the amount that you need for your down payment, or you want to buy a house or whatever. And you can say, okay, this is how many clients I need. This is where they come from. So I'm going to double, triple that thing that's working. And that's what I teach so many of my students in the program. So the superpower of the program is not just, like I said, the modules and stuff, but it's a lot of strategy calls and one-on-one sessions with me too. So we build out like what's going to work for you versus somebody else. Like my program for you would look different given your big law background and having that pedigree and that sort of status behind you, because it is, and we would use it to your advantage, right? And also knowing that you're a mom, right? So not signing you up for a bunch of conferences, like that's not right. But
I
right,
know.
if I have other students that are more in my situation where they're like, dangling, flying around, traveling, and it's a solo mission, right? My marketing plan for you would look different than her or him, because your lifestyles are different. And so marketing really has to fit within your lifestyle. But that's the thing. There's so many ways to do it, where I have so many attorneys in my group and in my program that are parents of young kids. And I'm like, what if I told you there are certain things you could do? Like when the kids are napping, when you have a 20-minute window, do these 3 things. And you're,
Amazing.
Yeah,
you're just gonna keep building on it. I feel like you're starting with your niche, and like that's what everyone's supposed to do. You start with your niche, be really intentional with who your clients are, who are trademark attorneys. But I feel like there's gonna be some broader education, coaching coming.
It's coming. I mean, it's a tough thing when you are venturing into somewhat new territory. And, to piggyback on what I was saying a few minutes ago about, really pursuing something else besides practice and like having another thing, because it is very fulfilling to be able to kind of do different things. My recommendation would be to like stay somewhat parallel with what you're doing. I mean, it doesn't have to be trademark law, but for me, teaching lawyers and then also practicing, like it just kind of goes hand in hand, and it works really well. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting how the audience has evolved, and you also like discover new talents, right? So the fact that I've been able to advise attorneys and teach them and lead them to 30, 50 1,000 monthly revenue goals, like the things that people have attributed to me, you almost want to cry. And I've started crying on some of these case studies, because I'm just like, wait, I tripled your revenue? Like, money doesn't buy happiness, and I want to be very clear about that. But do you know what that can do for somebody's family? Like,
no,
you
and
just
happiness and health, because like once you're doing it in a way that's it sounds like it's all sustainable, it's tailored to them, not like burning out, running yourself into the ground to hit these numbers, or to try to make dangling the carrot at a firm where it's like, hey, we're going to make partner, but I have to hit my billable hour, whatever it is. Like, thank you so much for being like that voice and a coach to any attorney, really, to understand and take ownership of their careers as a business.
That's the hill I will die on. is treat your firm like a business. You sell legal services no differently than Starbucks sells coffee. And it's icky for some people to hear that and to really internalize it, but that is going to be the mentality that really shows you a difference in your revenue. And it's not meant to be like, icky about like how you go about doing business. So you don't want to nickel and dime your clients and everything's not about money. I do tons of free calls, tons of free webinars, tons of free everything. Like not everything is a money
give a
maker,
ton of value. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. But you do have to think about, what makes sense and, what you're actually doing. I think that, it makes a big difference to think about it that way.
You know what I've been doing? I learned from the entrepreneurial model about how to package my legal services in a more entrepreneurial way. So a lot of lawyers give way too much. They either give way too much away for free or they don't give enough. They're not giving high level consulting. They're not doing the strategy. So I literally came up with a product I call an IP audit and playbook that gives me permission. I say, give me your websites, give me your social media handles. Let me look at your courses. And like, let's look at the business as a whole so we can pull out what IP you have, what's not protected. And like, let's go through a contract checklist and build your business. And people freaking love it. Like my clients love it. And then at the end of it, we go through the whole thing. We do a Zoom call and then they're like, wow. And they feel fulfilled and like proud. But then they're also like, okay, I have to protect my assets versus just waiting. And, this is an idea anyone can do. Like, take it, do it. I hope people like can implement this. But like, it truly is a way that I can actually give clients advice instead of having them come because I hate problems. Like, I'm not a litigator. I would rather just do the basic trademarks, copyrights, and contracts, get them protected, and then just keep doing that periodically, like every 6 months. We just keep building up the business. And so, but I learned that from online and like just treating it like a business.
That's exactly what it has to be. And it's once you start thinking about it that way that you start thinking about, oh, profit margins. Oh, okay, so like my rates are not high enough because literally physically like the time I'm taking, right, to from start to finish, I'm operating at a loss time frame wise, like cost of goods sold. But we just don't think about it that way because it's time and you're like, well, I've got a few minutes, no big deal. All that adds up. It definitely adds up. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I could sit and chat with you. We have
I know. I'm like, do we have to stop now?
We'll do another one maybe in the fall. And like, of course, Sonia, if there's ever you do decide to make that separate product or you are doing an event, like share it with me because I would love to share it with the community.
Thank you for having me. And it's so nice to chat with you and spend some time. You guys, like, I love this community that we've built and the fact that we can make friends with people who are totally in a different state, different time zone and feel like we know each other because we do have this common thread, right? Like, if I were to text you or DM you and be like, girl, I want a 2-day office action, you're like, yes, like, know what that means. And there's nothing better than that. Right. And I think it's so nice to have this stuff in common and to feel like people get it. Right. So thank you for having me. I'm happy to come on anytime. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks, Sonia. Thanks everyone who tuned in. We're here every Thursday. Sonia, we will absolutely have to have you back on another Thursday.
Thank you.
And keep us updated. What's the best place where people can reach you?
So definitely at Trademark Lawyer Lady, which is my Instagram handle. There's a whole entire person who manages that account. I mean, it's me too, but it's also, there's a whole person who will reads every single DM that we get. And also just the website, there's links in my bio for everything you may need, but ask any questions you want. I'm an open book. So if you have any questions, literally, I'm an open book. So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone. Bye, Sonia. Good to see you.
Bye. You too. Bye.